Hey everyone, Mike Linares here, and welcome to the Code Blue podcast brought to you by Holly Blue, the first one and only social media app created by nurses, specifically for nurses. So think of this as a community made just for you. You guys can download the app and connect with nurses in your area and also boost your knowledge and career. So with me is a very exciting guest, one and only Aspen Brito. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
From Aspen Anatomy. You guys can follow her on Instagram and TikTok. Your TikTok page is blowing up. She does nursing tips and tricks, and she is starting her own store for nursing health and wellness. So follow her at Aspen Anatomy. So what's up, Aspen? How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you first, I now a little side story here. I first noticed Aspen from, I've seen her content. We follow a lot of influencers, but she posted like this really viral TikTok. I think a lot of your TikToks have gone viral, but the one where she like highlighted me was pretty odd. It was like got almost 500,000 views, and I'm like, dang.
Yeah, it went super viral. I thought that it's super important to show other nursing students some really good resources, and your company actually really helped me learn more about the material that I was learning. So I know that with my younger viewers, or even like girls that are around my age in nursing school, I think it's funnier when you can like find other nursing educators or nursing resources when you use like something that's funny or a great song. So I really liked that audio and I thought it was super funny, so I had to use it so girls like knew who you were.
Oh, well, you're so awesome. Wait, so are you in nursing school right now, or?
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
currently still in nursing school. I graduate in 6 months, so I'm pretty
Oh,
excited.
dang, no way. And you're over here in LA, kind of like me, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, loving LA a lot.
Are you originally from over here, or?
So I technically, yeah, you would still consider LA County, but I was like raised in Santa Clarita area, but
Okay.
not exactly in like deep downtown LA, like Santa Monica area that I'm in now.
Oh, nice. Oh, Santa Monica is beautiful too, so
Yeah,
that's really
Santa
cool.
Monica is super pretty.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about, I guess, why you chose nursing, a little bit of your nursing goals, but really the juicy story we'll save at the very end is the horror stories as a nursing student, which everyone has those. So,
Oh, I feel like everyone does.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, what made you like start this nursing journey? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so when I knew I wanted to be a nurse was actually when I was in high school. I was doing cheerleading and I was a flyer, and I
Mhm.
actually the stunt basically went wrong. And
Oh crap!
yeah, so the EMTs and ambulance
Wait a
team,
minute! Whoa, whoa!
yeah, it was
What
like,
did you do? Like, what, did you fall on your head? Do you
okay,
have a
so
traumatic
I
brain
was like
injury?
about to come down from the stunt, but
Okay.
the person who's supposed to catch you didn't catch me,
The
so I
base. That was getting
fell.
bases. Yeah.
No, you can't blame it. It just
All right. All right. All right.
sometimes. And
What was her
so
name? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm dying. So I fell, and I guess I went unconscious and then kind of had
No
a seizure.
way.
So
Wait,
I don't really, yeah, so I
you
don't
had a
remember
seizure?
it. And I wish I did, because I kind of remember that day, but I don't remember like actually doing the stunt or like a little bit after. And they
Mm-hmm.
say that's like pretty normal. But I went to the ER and I like
Normal.
woke up and I was like super sweaty, like diaphoretic,
Oh my God.
the whole thing. And like the EMT guys like had to cut it was like Spirit Week, so we were wearing tie-dye. And I was like
Oh
wearing this like
no.
embarrassing outfit. They had to like cut it with scissors to like get me in the ambulance and onto the gurney. And I just remember sitting there like, wow, like this is so embarrassing. What am I gonna do? And I had to have the C collar on when I was like in the ER, and this nurse came in And she was like, oh, unfortunately, like you're gonna have to keep that on. And I was like, oh, okay. I really had to use the restroom though. Is there any way that I could like get up and take it off, you know? And she was like, no, I'm sorry. So actually she was like super sweet and like gave me a bedpan. And she's like, I know
Oh
it's super
no.
embarrassing, but you're gonna have to do that. So I did. And she was like super sweet to me and just like kind of made me not feel so overwhelmed and stressed out in that situation that I was going through. I feel like if I had someone else as a nurse that day, I would have been like super scared and like freaked out more, but I was actually pretty calm given like how she explained everything and how compassionate she was. So after that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to look into this nursing thing, you know? So I started volunteering at the hospital where I grew up. And after that, I was like, wow, I love it. And they actually put me in the ER. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. The adrenaline rush, like everything. It was so fun. So that's kind of how it just like segued into me. Here I am now.
Wait, so what were you doing in the volunteering in the ER? Because like usually, like when I used to work in the ER, like the volunteers will like fold sheets and like fold towels.
Yeah.
Or like you're like the adrenaline
I
of just
did that
watching.
in the beginning. No, yes, 100%. I totally did that. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna ask. Like I kept seeing like people come in and out of the ER. And I was like, I really want to be in there. So I got actually really close to my nursing director. And I was like, oh, April, please, like, I'm just begging you. Can I please just volunteer in the ER?
Just
And
let
she
me
was
look.
like, okay, like, let me see and get it, like, you know, make sure that it's okay and get permission. And it was. So I did. And then I basically just like folded sheets there, but I was like super excited, you know?
You're so cute. I just folded sheets in the corner, but it was like,
In the
was
corner, but seeing the traumas come in, I'm like, yes.
really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's really yeah. Seeing all the other cheerleaders come in with neck braces. I'm just kidding.
I know. And then I'm like, oh, okay, you're not alone. Hi.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Like, did you fall on your head or your neck?
Yeah, so I actually fell on my head and it was bad because we were like practicing, we weren't practicing on mats. So it was like super bad. Yeah, the paramedics were like, you're really lucky. I was like, oh, thanks.
Dude,
Thanks.
you could have been paralyzed from
Yeah,
like
oh my
the
God. There's like
oh my
so many
gosh.
things and I'm just really blessed. And I think that's why it kind of happened to show me like healthcare because I never really cared, to be
Yeah.
honest.
That's nuts. I mean, there's been so many stories of like, track stars that, do a jump or something and then fall wrong and then just break their neck. And it's like,
I
wow.
know. We're just like, I watched this one movie that was like based on true events about an ice skater that was
Hmm.
like, you know, going to go to the Olympics and everything. And she was like practicing on the rink and she fell like wrong and she went blind. It was just terrible.
Gosh. Well, man, that's crazy. I wish I had a better story of why I wanted to become a nurse,
Oh
but
my
man,
God.
that's
Now I
interesting.
have to hear yours one day.
No, like mine is really simple. I never wanted to be a nurse.
Really?
Like
Oh my God. Tell me. I want to
it's
hear
the
it.
worst. It's the worst. It's the worst because so I was the EMT guy, right? That was working on the ambulance. Never really knew what I wanted to do in nursing or in life. And my brother's like, yeah, join this, ambulance or EMT training before you graduate high school. So I'm like, all right. I mean, it's free. It's like my last 6 months of high school. And then I did it, got through it, which to be honest, I feel like that was harder than nursing school in a sense that you're going from zero knowledge to, full,
Yeah.
medical professional. And so by the time I got into nursing school, it was around 6 years working on the ambulance here and there, and even in the ER too as a tech. So nursing school was a lot easier for me. But long story short, I thought I wanted to do nutrition, and then I'm like, nah, I really don't like that. So I kind of poked around at a few other things. Was almost going to go in the fire academy, and then I'm like,
Oh, okay.
nah.
I could see it.
And then I started volunteering on fire. I'm like, dude, like there's no fires in Southern California other than brush fires, and then you only work with the state. But like to work for like cities, you're most of the time you're going following the ambulance on this call on like a stomach ache at 3 in the morning or like a traffic accident, which never really happens like at the fire stations I was shadowing. So I'm
Right.
like,
Or like COPD patients.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't feel that. And then doing 24-hour shifts and, messing up your sleep schedule, like waking up, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's so true. They had to wake up at like 3:30, go on a call, and then like go back to sleep.
Yeah, and then literally like work the next day like nothing ever happened. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and then, so then I'm like, oh, I should do a PA route. They can make 100 grand a year,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah,
PAs
just
are
do
great.
physician. Yeah, and so I applied 3 years in a row, never got in.
Oh my gosh, I heard it is very
Yeah, competitive.
it
Yeah.
is difficult to get in, but
Hmm.
I feel like everything happens for a reason, and that's why
It's
you
true.
kind of like started to go into nursing. You were like,
No,
what?
like I was actually talking my fellow ambulance people out of nursing. I was saying like, don't, no one wants to be a male nurse. Don't even go into nursing. Like,
I'm dead.
because working on an ambulance, the only nurses you mostly see is not ER nurses, in a sense that the ambulance I worked for, like you just transfer from the floor, like med surge, to like a nursing home. Like we weren't like the only ones who go on like 911 ambulances is like fire in Southern California, like fire paramedics. So like regular ambulance people, like they just go to dialysis or whatever, right? Like interfacility transport. So you don't really get to see the action. So the only nurses I ever really interacted with was what was it? It was the nursing home nurses, and it was the med surg nurses.
Oh God,
And I'm
no.
like, I do not
I
want to do
never
nursing.
gonna do it.
Oh gosh, and especially like those old hospitals with like those big ass like book charts or like those
Oh
paper
yeah,
charts, where
it's
it's like,
like okay.
yeah, it's like an accountant. Like I'm like,
Yeah, an
boring,
accountant.
dude. Yeah.
I feel like I would rather be an accountant than a med surg nurse.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, disclaimer to all the med surg nurses out there. No, I'm just kidding.
We're really like selling getting into nursing. We're
Yeah,
really
yeah. So then, okay, so short story long, or long story short. So I ended up, uh, what was it? Finally, kind of like, I was super deflated from the PA stuff. I'm like, screw it, I'll just apply to a bunch of nursing programs. So I applied to 10 of them. Didn't get into any one of them. I got on the wait list for Mount Sac over here,
okay.
but that was a 3-year wait list.
Oh my God, what?
So then I applied again to 7 more schools because I already had all the prereqs from PA school or PA thing. And I'm like, okay, so I applied to 7 more schools, got into one on the lottery list. Like one person had to fail their tease test for me to get in. And like there was 2 Asian chicks before me, and I'm like, dude, these chicks are gonna totally smash this tease test.
You're like,
I'm like, man, I'm like, look at this guy, like, I'm not
you're
gonna even
gonna
pass
score
it.
like 90th percentile.
So I stayed the whole time, took the tease test. One of them failed. I got in. So I'm like,
Wow. See, it happened by luck. And now look at you. Like you're an entrepreneur, a nurse, and
yeah,
you got your master's done, right? I saw
yeah. So I
that.
just got my master. But okay, so it's funny because I failed out of nursing school my 3rd semester
Really? Is
for
it
being
like
like,
what intermediate med surge? Is that like where third? Yeah, third, right?
yeah, intermediate med surg, yeah, like advanced med surg. But I
Right.
failed out because I was late to class or late to clinical too much.
Oh my gosh, that's I would be so mad over that versus like failing the actual exams.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but look at you now, like you can't even say.
Yeah, see, I mean, like, and it's funny because I never wanted to start this simple nursing thing. It only started because they wanted me to get back into nursing school. And my dean's like, just show me that you're serious about it. So I'm like, all right, I guess I can
Wow,
start
see, I'm
these classes.
learning
Yeah.
something new. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
see.
Dude, that's awesome. Congrats. That's actually really amazing. I feel like that always happens when you're like, oh God, I really like don't care. I'm not doing it. And then you just blow up. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just like probably your handles, like on, like, what made you start Aspen Anatomy, and like, where did like the
God.
inspiration come from? Was it just kind of like a whim where, hey, I'm gonna post some nursing tips, health and wellness stuff, or?
Okay. So I have to be honest. I want to be super honest, like especially
Don't lie to
for
me.
young girls.
Uh-huh.
So when I got into nursing school, I was actually like, I was definitely like inspired to go and stuff, but I never saw myself like being a whatever you want to say in air quotes influencer.
Yeah, yeah. Air
But
quoted up.
air quoted up. But I don't know. I was just like, you know what? I really want to like take this in a good direction. And I was at a point in my life, like when I got into nursing school, I was going through like a really bad breakup and I was like super sad. And I was like, okay, I need to like pull it together. So I told myself, okay, I need to take this like energy and put it to something good. So like, you know, a distraction technique was like, you know what, I'm going to like start a blog, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did kind of start a blog, and that's kind of how it like started. But then I was like, with nursing school, especially first semester, it got really difficult to kind of follow through. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like post a picture and then write my tips there. So then I did that on Instagram, where I would just like post pictures of me like at clinical, like of course in the bathroom, because they have like super strict rules like at our school, like you can't like post anything or they would like basically like send you to jail.
Oh
And
my god. Yeah, that's a nursing school.
and so then I would just like write tips or like write my experience. And, you know, at first I had like 3 followers, and I'm pretty sure they were like some random fake ones that just like, you know, come in on when you first start an Instagram. And then after that, it kind of just started happening where I would like engage with other accounts, like other nursing, like pages, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I think that's amazing what you're doing. So then I started actually making like a lot of like friends, you know, on this. And like we would talk, and then pretty soon, like the more I would like comment and like share my story, girls would like message me like, hey, how did you get into nursing school? What is it like? Do you recommend doing nursing? And so pretty soon I was like getting overwhelmed. I was like, wow, like, oh my gosh, like I guess I should keep posting, you know, because in the beginning I was like, okay, literally no one cares, like no one cares, you know what I mean?
It's
And
like an
then
LA
it kind
vibe.
of
Yeah,
just
no one
like
cares. Correct.
started there. And then I was like, okay, if I could even just change one person's view or like influence one like young girl or guy to like get into this, and like, you know, I think it's really good to always educate yourself and go to school and just, you know, level up basically. So that's why I kind of just kept going with it, you know?
Yeah, of course. And it's funny how, you know, things in the beginning, you don't really, I think some of the best things in life happen by accident because you really don't care. It's just so natural and fluid, right? You put the intention out there and good things happen, or they don't, you know, it's just like, you know, playing the hand of the lottery kind of thing. So
I completely agree with you. I totally believe that like the universe works for you, not against you. And I think it's super important to kind of just like remind yourself, if like something doesn't work out, it probably wasn't really meant for you, or maybe it was like protecting you from something, you know, that could have gone worse. Or, you know, I just feel like when one door closes, a million opens. So that's kind of how I handled it. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. It's a great journey.
That's so cool. So like you chose nursing because you became a patient that almost had a fractured neck.
Pretty much.
Okay. And then, so now you're in nursing school. Is nursing school like, did you think it was going to be totally different, or did anyone kind of warn you like nursing school, you'll have no life? It's like a concentration, like, you know, like boot camp.
You know, I feel like honestly, I knew it was going to be hard, but like my first exam, I was like, what is select all that apply? You know, I was like, this has to be a joke. Like I am being punked right now. And so as I like kind of guided through my first semester, I was like, oh my God, this is no joke. Like I can't imagine, you know, like all these girls that just like breezed through or got like 97%, you know, but yeah, I would say that I knew it was going to be hard, but it was like a different like challenge for me, I would say, especially being like going to nursing school during a pandemic. I feel like I didn't expect that.
Right.
I was like, okay, wait a minute. Why am I doing like virtual online learning? What is Zoom University? And like, why am I sitting here for 13 hours?
Zoom University? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so you started your nursing journey this time last year? Or, wow.
Wait, yes. Well, no, August of last year.
Okay, yeah. So like this semester, but last year kind of thing. Okay.
Right.
And so your goal is to become what kind of nurse?
Okay, so, you know, I kind of change it up like on what I really want. But I still think that my heart is set on after graduation to do a emergency new grad program.
Nice.
I just feel like, of course, I'm so comfortable with it, and I have gone through like my peds rotation and my maternity, and I gotta say, I'm like, no, I think I'm definitely still, drawn to the ER.
Mhm.
But in the end, I would say that I do want to kind of like pivot towards more like concierge medicine and like cosmetic injecting. I
Mhm.
think it's really fun. And that's like the girly part in me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I like want to like be next to skincare products and
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
girls like, do this for your skin, or if you want, this new thing that we're doing. I think it's very, maybe like LA has set into me. I don't know. But I feel like,
Yeah, LA's rubbing off on you for sure.
right. I think that it's super fun and interesting. I met a lot of great people out here that do it. And it's kind of like changed my thought process to kind of try something else.
But I think like I think that's the beauty of nursing, because you can do anything really. You can be that ER nurse for 2 or 3 years, then switch over to mother baby, and then do Botox and fillers on the side.
Yeah.
And then if you really like it, go to nurse practitioner or get a dermatology. I don't know.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. It's
Hmm.
crazy how much. That's why I also want to show people that it's not like what you traditionally think, because a lot of people don't. I try to remind myself this too, because I like talk, like in nursing lingo or healthcare lingo, and people are like, what? Like, what's an RN? Like, what's the difference from a CNA and an RN? Like, they don't know. And I
Yeah.
remind myself, like, okay, like, a lot of people like have no idea like what you really do, and I think a lot of people are still in like that archaic mindset that we like just give sponge baths, and I'm like,
Hmm.
no, wait a minute, let me show you that you don't have, like, you could be a total baddie and still like go to RN school and like get into whatever you want. It's not just like, oh, I'm a med surg nurse and that's it.
A total baddie. We're gonna hashtag
And
that.
like,
Be a
no
total
offense to
baddie.
any med surg nurses at all, you guys are angels. I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But okay, so non-disclosure here, or full disclosure? I don't know. But if like the only job as a nurse was a nursing home or med surg, I probably wouldn't be a nurse. And I
Yeah.
just say that because the thing is like I love the ER, and I love that, the coolest part about being a nurse, you can work on an ambulance too, like critical care transport, or you can be
Yeah.
in the air, there's like adrenaline junkies. But I think that's the coolest part, because then you can like transfer to like your own, what's it called, cosmetic business if you'd like. I don't know. It's really,
Yeah,
really
I
cool.
feel like that's definitely an interest of mine. I feel like we have very similar backgrounds because after I volunteered, I like became an emergency room scribe, and then I was like, oh, I really love it. I
Oh,
like
really?
actually want to do more stuff. So then I became an EMT and then ER tech. But it was weird. I had to get my phlebotomy license. So I also have that too, because they're like,
Wow.
oh, you're going to be drawing blood cultures. I was like, okay, say whatever. I'll do it.
Wait, so
I'm
like,
like 18, like praying that I'll get a job.
okay, so you graduated high school around 17, 18, and
Yeah.
then
And then after that,
you went, yeah.
I like volunteered for years, like wanted to see if I did it. And then
Hmm.
I got my job as a emergency room scribe
Okay.
at like a super busy ER. It's in the Antelope Valley out here. It's like the second busiest ER in Southern California.
How do you,
So it was super fun to me. And then after that, I was like, okay, I want to like actually do stuff, not just like write things down for the doctor.
yeah. And yeah, if you guys don't know, a scribe is, for more of the busy hospitals or like the bigger hospitals, that they follow doctors and PAs around and write down exactly what the doctor's doing. So the doctor doesn't have to spend all the time charting. They can be more productive. But I think that's the best part about being a scribe. All the diagnostic tests, so much about the patient, how to treat a patient, because every single patient that presents with signs and symptoms, it's usually going to be the same kind of recipe to treat it.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why like if you were working there for a while or they really trusted you, you could just like put in the orders for
That's
them, like
amazing.
with
Yeah.
them watching, like if you could
Hmm.
just like kind of know it and be like, okay, I put in like, the GI orders or whatever, they're like, oh, okay, great, if it's like a stomach pain. So it was really knowledgeable, and I got to see the NP, PA, and then like MD side. And yeah, I met so many great people that really like helped me kind of become like who I am and like who I am becoming today.
That's so cool. So how long did you do the scribe for?
So I did it actually for a long time. I like became like addicted to the place. That's my problem. I'm like a workaholic. Like once I'm like super passionate about something, I like go all in, and then it's like hard to get me away from it. So I did it for 3 years, and then I did my ER tech for a year.
Okay, and then you were you were an EMT ER tech for a year? Oh, okay, nice. Okay, and then you got into nursing school. So man, you had around like 4 years of medical knowledge before nursing school, huh?
Yeah, so it was super helpful, especially in clinical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's definitely helped me a lot. But I never, the funny thing is like pro tip, don't like tell your clinical instructors this, because A, you don't want to be that person, and B, like then they're not going to like hound you with a million questions. If like you don't know it, you'll just be like, I have no idea. You know, they expect less from you.
And that was what I had to learn in nursing school is like, first off, don't poke your head above the radar.
Yes. Oh my God. Like number one law, right?
They're going to narrow down on you. And if you have a good/bad nursing instructor, good by I mean like they want to ask you a lot of questions. Bad by I mean like they're going to ask you a crap ton of questions and then like, not fail you for it, but like hound you for it, right? So
that's exactly how it is. And I've seen it happen with some of the people I go to school with, and I'm like, oh my God, don't say it. And they're like,
don't do it.
UCLA. And I'm like, oh, why?
Oh, yeah. It's like poking your head out of like a trench and then getting like shot. You're like, oh, dang. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh God, good luck. You have my blessings.
Yeah, my blessings. So yeah, if you guys are in nursing school right now, or you're going into nursing school, huge pro tip: don't draw attention to yourself in clinical. Maybe lecture, you're fine to raise your hand, answer questions. Who cares if you get it wrong? But yeah, you just want to skate on through, learn as much as you can.
Yeah, blend in. It's such like a power move, actually.
Blend in. I mean, maybe our schools are similar because I went to Cerritos, which is like in the LA area, but like southern LA a little bit.
Okay.
And my instructors, most of my clinical instructors were hard. Like they were like tough as nails. Like they will try and fail you or try to figure out what you don't know and then like drill down on that little thing.
Yes, 100%. They were like so cutthroat. And I remember starting nursing school, and like there was this retired nurse that like actually like would write some of the NCLEX questions for the NCLEX.
Crap.
So she was like giving us advice, and she was like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but nurses eat their own young. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what does that even mean? And then it was like, I got thrown in. I'm like, oh my God, this is like a wolf pack,
They bully you.
Yeah, they will literally like try to cut you down at any cost. And so that's another reason why I'm like, okay, I kind of want to like show girls that it's not like just this toxic culture,
Yeah. And it's funny because like, I don't know if that's just like a Los Angeles thing, because I talk to other nurses like all over the country, and it's like, oh yeah, we don't do that in Texas or Florida or whatever. It's only like maybe one out of a big pie. And then I did my preceptorship with a few nursing instructors in Tennessee for my master's. And I'm like, dang, this is critical care nursing or like the advanced med surge. And I'm shadowing everyone in the clinical setting. And I'm like, you're not even asking them these, you're being so nice, like so nice. And it's like, dude, in Los Angeles, at least, like, man, they would just kick our ass. Yeah.
I completely agree. I was like, I wonder if other people go through this. But then I would ask my friends, because I have a lot of friends that are in nursing school too. And they're like, oh no, like my teacher's super nice. She's like an angel. And I'm like, oh, what? Nice, great. Well, let me just go like cry myself to sleep right now.
Yeah. And it's like a boot camp, right? Like that's how I got failed out of my third semester.
Definitely not for the weak. Like, and I'm not like super like a hard charger, like strong-minded person, like send me to the Navy right now. But I definitely had to learn like, okay, I really want this. So I'm just gonna like pretend that tear didn't just fall down my cheek right now, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Have you cried in nursing school? Yes.
You mean like at home or like in clinical?
I mean, at home,
Or just like anytime?
anytime.
I feel like, okay, like I have to be honest to the
All of
people.
the above. Like,
All of the above. Like if you haven't cried in nursing school, you may or may not be a psychopath.
yeah, for sure. I
Mike's
cried.
like, I didn't cry at all.
I cried when I got failed out. That's the thing.
I mean, I feel like it still counts if you like you didn't shed a tear, but you feel like you're gonna cry. You
Yeah,
can
but
count that.
okay, how many times have you thought overwhelming pressure in terms of like, I don't think nursing's for me. I don't think I can do this.
Oh, 100%. I want to make sure that that is normal, especially for a lot of girls because they're like, oh, I really don't think this is for me. Like, I want to quit. I'm like, you know how many times I've mentally quit in my head? Like 1,000. Like right now, I'd be in like Hawaii right now, you know, chilling with a margarita. But
Whoa,
here
with a
I am like
margarita.
studying med surge and NCLEX questions, you know?
So, okay, this is a really good, I guess, like a good side note here. What keeps you going? Like, let's say you hit that mental wall or like that burnout almost, where you're like, screw this. I'm so checked out. What like kind of gets you kickstarted a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad that you asked this because I actually went through it pretty bad, like burnout, and really wondering if it's something I actually really wanted to do. Like last month and like the last 2 months, I was sitting there and I wouldn't even really post content because I was like, I feel like imposter syndrome, you know, like a fraud. Like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. Like, is this for me? And then I kind of just like had a day. Whenever I feel that way, I always talk to my mom. My mom's like my go-to. She's like my number one, like leading lady in my life that gives me like great advice. And she's like, you know, I think you need to like take a day and like really think for yourself and just like do some inner work, you know? So she was like, you were like super excited when you first started. I just think that, you know, due to like the pandemic and like the climate, everything that's going on, it's a lot, you know? So I was like, okay, maybe she's right, you know? And then I sat there and I thought about it a lot. And I was like, you know what? First, I like wrote down, because I always do this when I get kind of like unhinged with life and I just feel really unaligned. I'll write down like a list of what I'm grateful for and like what my blessings are, because then I remind myself like, okay, I'm being so negative. I'm in this negative mindset where I just am complaining all the time. I'm being like negative Nancy. So I'll write it down and then I'll go through it and I'm like, wow, Aspen, like you're really blessed that you even have like the opportunity to have education and be going to school. Like I tell myself and I remind myself like, okay, a year ago, the old you would have died to be in the position that you're in right now, because I wanted to be in nursing school so bad. I'd tell everyone, you know? And then once I got in, you start like, I just feel like it's kind of like destination happiness where it's like, oh, once I become an RN, then I'll be happy. Or once I date this guy, then I'll be happy. Or once I get a Tesla, then I'll be happy. But life's like, you can't live like that. So I'll write down what I'm like grateful for, like always practicing gratitude. And then I always push this on anyone who's like in a like rut or like in a weird place. I'm like, you need to read like self-help books or you need to listen to podcasts. Like I'm telling you, it changes your whole mindset.
It's funny because I just did the kind of NCLEX traps and how to avoid them. And one of the biggest ones was NCLEX failures. I see this all the time. Students will fail the NCLEX thinking like, oh, let me brush it off. I can take it in 45 days. I'm going to just take it in 45 days, not even worry about prepping or something. Or they'll be like in this depressed mood where they just can't get out of this negative death cycle where it's like, oh, I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. Or I'm just too overwhelmed, just like you were saying. And my number one tip is, gratitude. Write down 3 things on a note card, put it next to your bedside. Every morning, read those 3 things, spend 3 minutes in silence, and just because where your focus goes, your energy flows. Yes. So, yeah, it's like Man, that's really cool that you actually organically thought about that. That's really awesome. Yeah.
I can't tell you how much it's changed my life. That's why I always tell
Mm-hmm.
anyone who's like struggling, you just have to like remember, why you started, like what's your why,
Mm-hmm.
what really guides you. And sometimes it's hard, you're gonna I feel like that's normal. Like you're going to be in a mindset sometimes where it's not like rainbows, sunshines, and unicorns, you're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
like, WTF.
Yeah,
So when
WTF,
you get
man.
like that,
That sounds like such an LA thing. Yeah, just practice gratitude. Sometimes you're
I
like
know. Let me just
WTF,
go to Air
and
One right now and do some yoga,
yeah, just clear the air. Let me get some sage. And
drink some celery juice, and we're
yeah,
good to
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. But it's so true because I myself was in like this negative death spiral 2.5, 3 years ago. I even went to the urgent care twice for a panic attack because
Wow.
I just thought I was like having breathing difficulties or whatever,
Yeah.
or something was wrong like with my heart. I was thinking, and then so I went to go. I got checked out. They're like, no, you're fine. You just have like a lot of stress. I'm like, oh crap. So and that's one of the tricks I use because Tony Robbins told me about that. If you guys don't know, Tony Robbins is like a really kind of self-help motivational guy.
Amazing.
Dude, really good stuff. Like 8-minute segments on YouTube and
Yes, if you love him, then
mhm.
you'll love Ed Milet. That's actually
Oh.
who I love. I love listening to his podcast.
Hmm.
He's so amazing, and he has a lot of great guest speakers. And I don't know, it just changes your mindset. You're like, oh, okay. Like I listened to a podcast from him with Jay Shetty, the guy that's like has that book, Think Like a Monk, and I actually bought it, and
I can
that's what
write
I'm
this
reading
down.
right now. And it's super good. I highly recommend it. It's just really brings you down to understand like more of what you want in life.
Think like a monk. And who was the other podcast guy?
Oh, Ed Milet, Edmylett. He's so great. I love
Violet.
him. I tell everyone about him. I'm like, you're going to become obsessed.
Yeah, yeah.
If he wasn't married, like, I don't think Ed Milet would listen to this, but if he wasn't married, let me just say, that man
Mm.
would be like married to me.
I love this man, and I
I love
have
this
to have
man.
him.
Can you see the pattern that's going on right
I see this pattern. Okay, okay, I see it. Okay, so big takeaways. If you guys are in nursing school, maybe you're a nurse already and you just feel burnt out, maybe from coronavirus on a COVID unit. One of the biggest things is to get yourself out of a rut. Maybe you failed the NCLEX and you feel like you're a failure. Is practice gratitude. I'm serious. This worked for me. This worked for Aspen. Me personally, write 3 things that you're thankful for on a note card. And I call it a 3x3. Spend 3 minutes in the morning. The very first thing you wake up, 3 minutes just looking at it and just being grateful for having everything you have right now. And then the second thing is learn before you earn, right? Change your mindset, you can change your life. So focus on kind of self-help. I know it sounds cliche, like, oh yeah, self-help books, but not everyone, but a lot of people in my nursing program and even a nurse practitioner I was talking to in my ER used a lot of Tony Robbins when she hit these bumps of, a lack of motivation. So Think Like a Monk is a good book. The podcast, Ed Milet and Tony Robbins. So really good stuff, man. This is really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I hope someone listens and they're like, oh, okay, why not? And then they become hooked like I did, because that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Code Blue podcast. Don't forget to download Holly Blue, the one and only nursing app for nurses created by nurses.